Hello, everybody. Welcome to our House of League predictions podcast. We're here to look at the week's Super League games and to give our thoughts. My name's Jim Smales. I'm joined by our Rugby League editor, Matt Shaw, and Jason Donovan. If you haven't seen our Monday show podcast, you won't get that reference. Please go back and watch it.
That one was especially for you, Jason.
There we go. Let's get straight into it. We've got a Super League table with Hull Kingston Rovers top of the table by 3 points after a great victory over Leigh at the weekend. You know, Wigan already beaten a couple of times. Huddersfield Giants, the only side still on a 0. But starting us off this week, the resurgent Hull FC going to a Castleford team still doing it really tough. Matt, kick us off. How are you seeing Castleford versus Hull FC this week?
Hard to look past Hull FC, isn't it? They are playing very well.
We haven't said that many times recently.
No, they are playing really well. That's a good win at Wakefield, you know. It's a really good win because Wakefield are a good team.
I think the fact they found a way to win as well, which is impressive, and they'll take a lot from.
They've got a good away record this year. Yeah. They won at Huddersfield, they won at Catalans, they won at Wigan, and I think they've won every away game. Yeah, they're unbeaten on the road, which, you know, is tremendous for any team. So there's no reason to think why they won't win this week. Cass, I watched them against Catalans, and it's hard to get a proper judgment because the weather was dire. But I just don't think they're good enough at the minute to beat a team playing as well as Hull FC are. Stranger things have happened, but I think you'd be a fool to not go with Hull FC.
JD, you looking forward to Liam Watts going up against his old club? That's going to be tasty.
Yeah.
So soon after leaving, after what was said as well.
I think Dan Tomlinson put a story out this morning, didn't he? Sort of his reaction and his say to that. Yeah, that'll be a good battle. I'll have to agree with Matt on the predictions. Cartwright's Hull are looking great so far. Some great wins, as you say, on the road. And just, they're just looking brilliant. And Caesar's just been fantastic, killing it in the halves and being that leadership. And we were talking about the recruits that they made and the questions over them and their ages last year with Dan. And they've all been mega for Hull and their leadership and their influence. Dan will be loving it at the minute. So yeah, it's going to be a Hull one, I think. Cass is just struggling. We said they've got Singleton because they need those forwards, but yeah, they're still doing it tough at the minute.
Yeah, I agree. So Hull across the board. So nice, easy one. This one might divide us a little bit. Warrington against Leeds Rhinos. Really good win for Warrington against St Helens last week. Really good win for Leeds Rhinos in their late victory over Wigan. Talk to me how you see this one. I'm looking at you, but I'm going to start with Josh. Just want to throw in. Josh, confide in me.
I think
Where are you going?
I got them both wrong last week. I think I went against both of them. Warrington's win on paper was great, and it was a good win as well at the Totally Wicked Stadium. They just still don't have that forward pack just yet to be genuine contenders, I don't think. The game on Friday, Saints had the pack, but not the backs to do the magic, and it was the other way around at Warrington. Sneed had a great debut with his kicking game, and it freed up George Williams, and they combined for the first try. And then I went against Leeds. This is a really tough one, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Rhinos on that one.
Where are you going on this one? I was going to say, you're not. I nearly said you're not in the Warrington fan club. Makes you sound like you're against them, but
he's definitely in the Leeds Rhinos.
I think you've definitely got concerns about Warrington, and is that why you're going for Leeds on this one?
Yeah, Leeds as a forward, as a pack, have been excellent this year, and they've gone under the radar. Palissy has been awesome. Oleski's playing his best rugby for years.
Yeah,
James Bentley's playing really well at the minute. The packet of Leeds, I just can't see a way Warrington get on top of them because I don't think the pack is good enough. It then comes down to, similar to the Saints game, can Warrington defend the line well enough and hold Leeds out? Leeds are struggling in good ball. There's no getting away from that. They've had manoeuvring parts in the spine all year, which, you know, does have an impact. But given the number of injuries that Sam Burgess was suggesting they might have got in there.
Roderick Ty, Matty Ashton, Toby King, and Thulis.
All four outside backs.
And I think Matt Duffy. He wasn't too sure on Matt Duffy as well. So
going off that, we're waiting a full update. But you would then think that if some of those or if all of them are missing, they're going to be struggling to defend on the edges, and Leeds will have too much. I would have gone Leeds anyway, but I'm pretty confident of a Leeds win given all of that.
You've taught me into the Rhinos as well. Matt, Leigh against Wakefield. Wakefield, who didn't do too much wrong against Hull FC. Leigh, who just didn't even get a sniff against Hull Kingston Rovers, but that was more of how good and impressive Hull Kingston Rovers are than how bad Leigh were on the day. You got to go with Leigh, haven't you? I fancy Leigh on this one to get back to winning ways. They still look a very good outfit this season.
That was a very leading question, that wasn't it?
Wakefield have been great on the road though. Again, they won at Huddersfield.
So you're going Wakefield?
No, I'm just saying. I don't think it's as clear cut as you think. If you look at Leigh's last couple of games, they drew with Hull FC in that humdinger of a game, but a bit leaky defensively. They were leaky defensively against Hull KR, conceding 30. They played badly in between. You can't really get a read on that. Yeah. So the defence, I've just got a few questions on the defence at the minute, and Wakefield are a very good attacking team. The problem at Wakefield at the minute is they've got a lot of injuries. Truman didn't play this week, did he? Max Jowett. And that's going to hurt them. On the basis Truman and Jowett are out, I'd go in Leigh. If you told me those two were playing, I think I'd be edging towards Wakefield, if I'm honest.
It's difficult. Maybe you can't get that out of your head. But where are you going on this one?
I'm going the Leopards. That's the game that I'll be at on Friday night. As you say, both sides looking to bounce back. But Leigh, from what I've seen this year so far, have been good. And talking of music, it's the lottery winners that are playing at the LSV on Friday, which is a right bit of me. I think I saw them 3 times last year.
Could they not get a band?
Good work.
No, I like the lottery winners.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
But
there we go.
So anyway, I didn't give you a tip, did I? I'll go Leigh.
I thought you did.
I'm going Leigh.
You went
Leigh,
then
went Wakefield.
Off, so.
I'm going Leigh, but if I might have revised it by kickoff.
Yeah,
depending on
so Leigh,
2 for Leigh.
Leigh and Leigh. Catalan against St Helens. Catalan who look like finding a little bit of something. I know Morg's left, Tompkins coming back. Still in a difficult position, but look like they've got a little something about them. St Helens. I still don't know what to make of where we're at with St Helens.
No, I don't.
As yet. So a difficult one, but I'll start with you first. Where are you going on Catalan Dragons, St Helens?
I think the Dragons are a different team once Sam Tompkins is in. He's still class, isn't he? He's still one of the best players in the competition. He's backfiring now. He's been brilliant in the games against Featherstone and Castleford. A step up in competition this week for him, and the Dragons. But they're just finding a little bit of form. And Saints, I think, are still just finding the way into the season. I know they had a few big wins early, but against lesser teams. So I'm going the Dragons.
We defended Saints, didn't we, last week? Because there seems to be a lot of panic amongst the supporters, and they got off to a good start and a bit of that winning run. They just against Warrington just didn't have that final pass or that spark and attack. They made an early break. Paul Whelan said post match that he was happy with this side's performance, which I don't think went down too well because obviously they lost. But he said he just got to look at it at a performance basis, and it was about the little moments. He said, the little moments win big games, and that's what they didn't quite get right. I think Benison broke in the first 5 minutes, and his pass on the inside was patted down by Duffy, and then they had a chance on the other edge, and Mark Percival threw the pass over into touch, and then Percival again broke in the second half in the closing exchanges, but they couldn't do anything off it. It's just not quite. But they have clicked. I mean, they scored points against Wakefield, wasn't it? And they have scored points, obviously, Salford. That was a different story. And Cass, yeah. So, but they're just at the minute, they're just not finding that sort of click yet. But and with it being at Catalans, I think I'll be going the Dragons, who hopefully might entertain us soon.
I've got to go the French, being the big, francophile that I am. Je ne sais pas pourquoi.
This is brilliant.
Let's move on to the next
And
one.
Josh doesn't have a clue what's going on.
Let's
My mum, though,
generally.
she's
So
massive
all
fan.
seriousness
She's
aside,
massive
let's move on to the next one. Salford have got a win under the belts. They've got Wigan. Better the Devils, you know, Josh, this week.
This is it.
Is this
Where
going
we're
to be
going.
for everyone?
Superb.
That's the only reason he's on his phone is actually
Actually,
he's not on the fixtures.
None of them are written on
He's
my
just-
phone. It's all off the top of my head. Where we're going?
Yeah, but
It's got to be Wigan, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
I'll be going the Warriors. Yeah, I didn't see that result coming last week. I thought they'd had a really tough week at training following the Challenge Cup exit, and they might have put a bit of a score on Leeds, but that didn't happen on the day. I think that's what will happen this time around.
I would be shocked.
You can't.
I would be shocked if
Shocked by the power of Salford.
of Salford. Yes, if Salford were to win that game. Great, you know, they were much better against Huddersfield, a very poor Huddersfield. But look, Wigan have quite a few injuries at the minute. I think probably not being recognised because they're without O'Neill and Havard, who they've been out all season. I think people forget that.
Yeah.
Throw in Kieran, Miski and Field.
Yeah.
Well, you're missing half your back line, your rucker and your starting prop. So, you know, it's going to hurt them, but they'll have too much for Salford.
Yeah, and just real quick, we've seen these little dips, if you call them dips. We've seen runs of Wigan losing games.
They did it last year.
Before they did it last year.
Usually they do it towards the middle and end of seasons. This year we're just having it at the beginning and the sort of injuries. I mean, when it happened last year, it was again French was out, Field was out. This year it's just coming a bit earlier.
I also think context as well. Like they lost 1-0 to Leigh in a brilliant game. That was they played really well. Leigh just shaded it, and Leigh were awesome too. They had whatever that was against Hull FC, which they shouldn't have lost, but it wasn't like they got completely outplayed. And they lost by 2 points to Leeds. You know, it's not like they're being completely outplayed and completely pummeled.
There's no panic, is there?
They're absolutely fine.
There'll be no panic in-house. No.
And the final one, the Giants at home to the league leaders, Hull Kingston Rovers. Can Huddersfield finally get a win?
No.
Yeah.
Luke Robinson must be sat there thinking, what do I have to do?
Well, he brings 9 levels in. He loses 9 levels.
It's just unbelievable. I tell you what, though, taking all that out of it, they were awful against Salford. Like, there's always mitigation. We talk about the Wigan thing. There's mitigation when you without so many players, so many key players. But defensively, they were soft, and that there's no explanation for that. There was a couple of players out there who were way off. There is absolutely no way that they beat Hull KR. No way.
I don't think I have to add anything extra on that. We talk about injuries, but, you know, Huddersfield still had a couple of their star players and they still have a squad there. That's why clubs have squads, and they just didn't deliver anything good against Salford. And Hull KR, as we mentioned, it's all positive there. They're firing on and off the field. Their players are absolutely killing it. There's only one way. The only one question, I suppose, which could be on Willie Peters' mind is: do you potentially rest a couple with the Challenge Cup in mind? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just having a look at third time the Rovers have kept the clean sheet so far this season as well.
Yeah.
You think it could be 4
at
the weekend.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, you know, they conceded 2 to York as well. They conceded a penalty goal. So there's 4 games they've not conceded a try.
So,
and I think the narrative of I think they're 1 win away from matching the opening record from the 84-85 season. So that's what we'll be doing.
We all know what happened that year.
Yep. So that'll be our story on Hull Live and All That Rugby League during the week.
So just to recap, we've got, for me, I'm going Hull FC, Leeds, Leigh, Catalan Dragons, Hull Kingston Rovers and Wigan.
We're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all unanimous.
We're all unanimous.
Yeah.
This isn't people who say, "Oh, you just say this to get attention." This is proof that actually we don't. We all actually can agree at times.
Hand on our heart, we say it as we see it. That brings an end to this Kylie Minogue-inspired fiasco of Super League predictions. Go check out our podcast from earlier in the week if you haven't already seen it. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We will be back soon. Enjoy Rugby League this weekend, everybody. Thanks for being with us.